This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the faucet.
We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, my name is Peter.
Yeah, I want.
Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on.
He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
Hey, sorry, I didn't know you were here already. How's everybody doing? Summer. At least it feels like summer to me. I hope it does for you too. It's hot as hell out here. But the alternative is cold. And I know everybody bitches about the cold. Great day out here in sunny Southern California. Blessed in some ways, cursed in others. But really good to be here. It's really great to be here. A lot of great stuff going on. How the hell is everybody, all my peeps? I want to thank everybody for hanging with me through the weeks, through the days, through the hours. Had a little bit of a bump in the road last week, which we'll talk about briefly. But it's all good. Can't slow us down. Still going. Either way, I got a great show tonight. Tonight, for those of you who haven't figured out, I'm kind of infatuated with. Thank you. I'm being spoken to. I don't like. Sometimes these things are good, but you got to learn how to separate the stuff that's going on in your ear from the screen. And I've lost it apparently for this week. Anyway, for those of you who haven't realized, I've been doing every month. I kind of been doing a psychic a month, and I don't know. As I'm getting older, I'm really starting to evolve. And I'm really, there's more to life than what we just living. And, and in fact, I got a lot of people that believe or disbelieve about afterlife. What happens to you when you die? Are you just go into a box into the ground, or is there more to it? And I personally believe there's way more to it. We just can't grasp this notion. Some do. And I want to talk about it. And I got the perfect person to talk about it tonight. Mr. Scott Spackey, aka Krishnanand. He's not only going to talk about his near-death experience, which we'll talk about in depth because it's truly interesting, but he's an author. He's a spiritual healer. He's into the scientific end of spirituality, numerology, astrology, stuff that I don't even have a grasp on, but that's why he's on this show tonight, right here on the Peter G Show. It doesn't get any better than this, folks. And I mean that. Anyway, I want to keep moving, but speaking of spiritually numb or in the process of trying to find who the hell he is, the one and only Mr. Busy himself. I want to bring him on. Where are you? There you are. My friend and yours, Pepsi. Uh-oh. You're muted.
It's the Peter G Show.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I am good. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. We uninadvertently had the week off last week.
Yes.
YouTube.
What happened?
YouTube got us again.
Damn.
Yeah, YouTube got us again. But you're looking good over there.
That was my best chicken too.
Yes, but that gave you time to freshen up, be ready in Studio B, and looking. We got a Hawaiian theme going on. Anyway, yeah. So YouTube stuck it to us once again, and they went in deep this time. I mean, I'm talking deep. They went in. So yeah, exactly. But you know what? They're censoring. They're looking for everything. I mean, they took away one of our shows that was from last September due to medical misinformation, aka the truth not wanting to be told. But hey, is that Fiji water you're drinking?
Hey, you noticed?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
yes.
yeah, it's
Natural
great.
artesian water. Yes.
You like that water, don't you?
Yes, I did.
Oh wow, that's good.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Look at it. All right, little inside stuff here. Yeah, it doesn't get any better than this, folks. So anyway, so YouTube kind of stuck it to us this time, and they suspended the show for a week on YouTube, and so we ran a rerun because I've learned that if I'm going to talk anything that's kind of edgy with them, we just kind of do the first 10-20 minutes on YouTube and tell everybody we're going to have to turn off that platform because they're going to we risk being permanently removed from the channel. Don't really want that because we only touch on some edgy stuff that they call edgy. I call it the truth, but
it is the truth. The truth is the truth. There's not. You can't call it anything but what it is. The truth is the truth. But
and a horse is a horse, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
You can lead a horse to water, but
can't make them drink. Yeah. Okay, so we're So hey, I want to remind everybody too. Don't forget the podcast. Everybody. If you're on the road, you're driving like Pepsi does all the time. He listens to the podcast on the road to see what problems we need to get the kinks out of. But you can take it on the road. Just put it in your ear when you're at work, and that's another one of those problems right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Not my end, but anyway, we'll figure.
3 months in the running now, getting that sound. Tomorrow.
Phil, it's always Phil's fault. Phil.
I know. So anyway, the podcast, you can find it anywhere on about 25 different platforms now. But if you just Google Peter G Show podcast, boom, put it in your ear, listen to it while you're at work. Everybody hates work. And luckily, Rose is here tonight. I think she's tuning in for the first time tonight. That's kind of nice. Yeah. All right. But that's basically it. Hey. You haven't asked me about my Nugenix GH Boost, Pepsi.
And what about your new Eugenics Boost, Mr. Peter G, sir?
Well, I've been taking this Nugenix GH Boost, and let me tell you, swing!
Swing!
Yeah. No, I like this. I like this stuff.
Baby, the jokes are free, man.
That's what I'm talking about. That's right. Right turn, Clyde. Okay. Anyway, but this, I've been taking. I take this before bed, about an hour before bed, and I've been dreaming deep. I mean, so I know something's going on, and my body gets all tingly after after I drink it. So it's moving those blood vessels around and all that. But it's putting a little.
Get a little kick in your step.
Oh yeah, a little pep in my step. A little. I don't know.
Ginseng.
I'm still in the.
Ginseng Hopsing. What happened?
No. It's a GH boost, a growth hormone boost. So it just activates those glands. But either way, everybody wants their gland activated. But either way, it's available.
Especially.
It's available at your local GNC nutrition stores. So.
And your local Angry Mart, too.
Angry Mart, their prices are so low, they'll piss you off. All right. Hey, real quick, and then we're going to bring Scott on. You did not ask, do you know who's going to be on next week?
Who is going to be on next week?
I'm glad you asked. Next week, we're shifting gears. We're going, we do a lot of mental health. Including tonight. I think tonight's going to be, you're going to like this tonight because you're kind of trying to find your way. And
I like every night.
Well, yeah, you're always trying to find your way because you're drunk. But I'm talking about, like, spiritually.
I got a solution to the problem, sir. No.
Yeah, no, don't tell me about that one. I don't want to hear that. Why? Okay. So next week, Wednesday, May 15th. May. Let's take that over again. Cut. Next Wednesday, June 5th. Yeah, no, it's not drunk. I'm dyslexic. Yeah. So Wednesday, June 15th, Kids Health. we are going to have behavioral pediatrician Dr. Narissa Bauer is going to be on the show, and she special. Oh yeah, and she specializes in kids having problems, mental. They're pain in the ass kids that you just think. I mean, I used to get my ass whipped because I think I was a pain in the ass kid, but she specializes. I'm sure she does that too, but a lot of ADHD now going on. I don't know.
Autistic,
yeah.
Nice.
You might say I had ADHD when I was a kid, but I got my ass whooped and I calmed down real fast. I mean, I don't know. But things are different now. It's not like it used to be. But anyway, she specializes in behavioral concerns, amongst preschoolers, school age kids and tweens. So she caters to kids, and we're going to talk kids health, and that's going to be a big deal. So
man, that's going to be really good.
Yeah. So everybody's going to want to pay attention to this because most everybody has kids. But so anyway, I'm going to get this show on the road. We're going to be talking to Donna, so I want in a little while because she's going to come on the show, and I'll tell everybody why in a little bit. But you handle your business, and
gotcha.
Yeah, okay, thanks. You don't have to keep looking at me.
Gotcha. Sorry. I know, but I have to because you're right next to me.
You know, and I know.
Breathing down my neck.
Yeah, well, I would believe me. It couldn't be far enough. Anyway. So you do what you do, and I'm going to bring Scott on, and we're going to get down to business because I know this is going to be an interesting show going on. So
okay, here I go.
There you go. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Pepsi will be back in a flash. There you go. Okay, someday I'm going to have a long talk with that boy. All right, so without further ado, as I said, tonight I'm pretty excited because I got Scott that's going to be on, and again, plethora of information. And for those of you who are inexperienced and maybe even non-believers or just don't really know about this stuff, because I too was one, I think it's going to be pretty profound in the amount of experience and talk that he's going to tell us about. And so I'd be hanging on and take notes. Get your pencil ready, but we're going to have contact information and all that. So I think it's going to be worth it to you. Once again, another learning and growing experience. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my friend on the show tonight, right here in the flesh, Mr. Scott Spackey, a.k.a. Krishnanand. Yes, sir. Hey, Scott.
You said my name correctly, too. Thank you.
I've been practicing.
It takes. Look, I had to practice it, too, when I first got it.
Which part were you telling me that I said name? The Krishnanand?
Well, actually, most people get Spackey wrong, too, and have all my life. But Krishnanand is a very Sanskrit name. So, but you got them both right. Krishnanand is how you pronounce that, and Scott Spackey is my birth name, my Western name.
There you go. So
we're going to name, and one's my Western name.
Wow. Yeah. I was going to ask you what you prefer to go by. I mean,
I introduced myself. Scott Spackey is still out there. I mean, that's what I've been for all my life, and professionally, clinically, as a counselor. You talk about behavioral health. I'm a behavioral health specialist, private practice 15 years, and that's Scott Spackey. Before my death experience, I took the name Krishnanand as a spiritual name in 2010. But since then, as I floundered through my life with coping with the death experience, hovering in both sides of reality, then I finally decided to adopt Krishnanand full time, and that's how I introduce myself now. But I will answer either one.
Okay.
Don't call me late for dinner.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Can't do that.
Yeah, I got that. Okay.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, so I'm going to kind of be bouncing around because before you know it, we're going to run out of time, and there's so much ground to cover with you. But the beauty of it is, God willing, there'll be perhaps another visit with you down the road. But this is
often the case. I will be happy to come back. That's usually people want me back a couple times. Yes.
Yeah, because right now it's an introduction. I want to introduce you to my people, and there's a reason why you're here. I mean, not only are you an author and you have several books out, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you're in the middle of writing a new book now, also, right?
Yes, I have 4 books released internationally in print, ebook, and audio, and those were released after my death experience, but those were written before. So actually, I was in the process of publishing them when I was killed, and so since then, now my new book, my 5th book, my agents and my publisher and all these people were like nagging me and saying, oh my God, look what happened. You got to write about this. I'm like, you know what? It's way too soon. And I couldn't cope. I could not talk. We'll go into all that stuff. So now, finally, after 10 years, I'm writing the Death Experience book.
Gotcha. And that might give us a great excuse for the next time when your new book comes out to come on and talk about your new book. But so the books are written before you got into your accident. Now, tell people, because again, I really want to, we're going to focus on a lot of people don't believe in near-death experiences. They think it's your brain going through, like dreaming and all that kind of stuff. You were involved in a horrific motorcycle accident, correct?
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that.
All right. So here's the situation. In a few minutes, when I explain to you the dynamics of my circumstances, I can take an atheist and turn him an agnostic and agnostic into a full, faithful, religious nut, zealous. Okay? When you hear some of these, just random things. June 19, 2013, I'm in my office as a private counselor. I have this beautiful office in Santa Clarita overlooking the park. Been there for several years. Been there for 7 years. That's going to be an important factor too. And suddenly I get 3 clients that text me and want to postpone, reschedule. It happens, but not 3 in a row. And suddenly I got several hours to kill. And I'm like, I didn't have any backup. I was booked all day. I didn't bring anything to work to back up and work on because I thought I had clients back to back. And so I decided to go up the street to get a physical. I was a little overdue for a physical. I thought I'd go up the street. For the first time in 7 years in that office, I got on my motorcycle, came out of the garage. For the first time in 7 years, turned right instead of left. Don't know why I did. I never once before turned right. Every time I went in and out of there, I always turned left because it was a quiet street into town. The right turn was stop signs and some intersections and things. To this day, I don't know why I did, but I did. I turned right instead of left. And 2 blocks later, as I paused for a green arrow light just for me, I was the only person in the left turn lane to go onto the street. And as I eased out to make my turn, a full-size SUV came through the light and hit me in the face and killed me instantly. Now, I'm dead. I am absolutely dead, gone. And I tell you, we'll go in there for a moment, but so let's get this part down first. So on the corner is a tire store, American Tires. And there's a pastor out front getting tires on his daughter's car. He's the first man on the scene. By the way, I did not know this until about a year ago. I found out this about years later. I'm going to get tears because of how I found out. I had no idea this even occurred until just a little while ago. The pastor ran over and pulled my body from underneath this burning truck. And I had blood coming from my nose, my eyes, and my head, and I was dead. He started me reading my last rites. Trying to be a good pastor, invoke the Lord, and read my last rites because I was absolutely, completely dead. Paramedics are running over because on the other corner is a Jack in the Box. At the front of the drive-through line are 2 paramedics getting lunch. You want burgers that day? Tacos instead of burgers that day, I would not be here. If they'd been in the back of that drive-through line, I would not be here because they were in front of the line, on the corner. They were there in seconds to bring my body back to life. They shoved the pastor out of the way, brought my body back to life. But I can tell you that my spirit, my soul, my mind was already gone. I left the moment impact occurred. I didn't hover around and float and see angels in white light. I was like, that's it, I'm out of here. And I left. My mind, my consciousness completely teleported to a whole other dimension immediately. I didn't want to be around for that. So they brought my body back to life. I was in a stage 3 Glasgow coma. That is synonymous with death. If you talk to an EMT and ask them what a stage 3 Glasgow coma is, they'll go, we shrug our shoulders and say, well, say your prayers. Stage 3 Glasgow coma, there's only been 3 people that even come out of one since like 1980. That's how severe it is. They took me to ICU and I stayed in a coma for 9 days. And I woke up on my birthday. So we got a pastor on one corner, paramedics on the other corner, a 9-day coma, which numerologically is a very profound number. And I woke up on my birthday. When I woke up from my coma, Peter, I did not know who I was, did not know what a hospital was, didn't know how to talk, didn't know how to walk. I'm not saying that I was just broken. I'm saying it's like my memory, my personality, my history, who I was, who I am was completely deleted. Now, I had suffered what's called, we all know what TBI is now, traumatic brain injury. But my TBI was a DAI, diffuse axonal injury. It is the most severe brain injury known to science. So I'm in a stage 2 Glasgow coma with a DAI. You can't get any worse than this. DAI is when your white and gray layers of brain shear. They completely separate. And the billions of neurons that connect between them are completely severed. Every neuron you have has dozens of tasks to do. Controlling your finger, blinking your eyes, whatever it may be. When they shear, they're not connected at all anymore. So my personality, my mind, my memory, everything about me, my identity was completely deleted in that moment. So I'm woken from my coma. When I said I didn't know how to walk, what I'm saying is I was like an infant, like I didn't know. Like I never, like it was, I watched people do it and I'm like, that looks interesting. When I stood up, I fell. I did not know how to walk. I was like an infant.
Okay.
So meanwhile, so the death experience, so that's the clinical part. That's what I'm going through. I could not walk. I could not talk. I could not function. And when people hear about NDE, near-death experience, and I've been involved with the culture now and the IANS organization that's international for the International Association of Near-Death Studies. And most NDE experiences are very brief. People have a death moment and they're back in their bodies. Mine went on for 9 days while I was in a coma. And I can tell you for those whole entire 9 Earth days, I was somewhere else. I was not here. And when I came back, my consciousness, my mind was in both. I was partly in my body in a hospital bed and partly completely somewhere else, something that the Tibetan Buddhists call the bardo, which is the in-between state between life and death.
Here's my question. You're going to get people that are going to say, you're just dreaming. You know what I mean? This is just something the brain made up because it was hallucinating, because it's all screwed up. What do you tell them?
Okay. Well, Peter, here's the thing. No offense. If first of all, let's back up a moment. Prior to this incident, at that point, I am 47 or 48. This was 2013. I'm not that great with math. And prior to that, I've been a trained lifelong mystic and spiritualist. And I mean mystic. I'm not a psychic. Psychics are like weather forecasters. Weather forecasters get information, they broadcast it on the news. Meteorologists are scientists. They understand the science. They can predict because they can read the radar and all the patterns. Okay? So I'm not a psychic. I'm like, as a mystic is more like a meteorologist. So prior to this event, I'm a trained mystic and spiritualist all my life. I don't just mean some hobby. I mean, I'm a third-degree ceremonial magician in the OTO. I mean that I'm a master alchemist from Flamel College. I mean that I spent my life studying and practicing mystical modalities throughout history.
Okay, so you didn't just get spiritual after your accident. This has been ongoing. It just happens to be a coincidence, correct?
You could say coincidence, and that's one of the things that was really bothering me as I started to come out of this. I'm thinking like, okay, so I started learning about NDE because I didn't even know what NDE was. It was a new thing to me. And when I found out about it and I got involved with the culture, I'm like, okay, I'm meeting all these people. I went to the IANS convention, international convention in Seattle, and I'm meeting all these people. I'm like, okay, I know why you had a death experience, because you were like an agnostic atheist and you had to like wake up and see there's a spiritual element of life. But why did I have to die? What I'm going through is horrific. I mean, I didn't know who I was. I mean, when I saw my son and my girlfriend over 10 years in the hospital, I didn't know who they were. Literally, like, what's that? What's a girlfriend? What's a son? I didn't know what that was. So that's a very hard adjustment. So it's not that I had a death experience because I'm a trained mystic and spiritualist. You could say coincidence, but certainly my death experience, my time on the other side, what I experienced, what I retained from it is directly related to my prior training and fortitude as a mystic and spiritualist. So again, I was curious too. I was kind of angry for a while.
I get it. Yeah. I don't think I was trying to say that, like, just, a lot of people that aren't religious.
Sure. Yeah, of course. People will say it's just brain anomalies.
Well, but no. But let's say, like, because I fly a lot, or and so a lot of people, sometimes there's these bad turbulent storms, and people get really scared. And people that aren't religious will all of a sudden start to
suddenly get very religious, don't they?
Right. So what I'm saying is, I thought it was due to your accident that you possibly got into this because of the traumatic things that happened to you, but that's not the case.
No, to be honest with you, this NDE experience, as intense as it's been for over 10 years now, and how as totally supernatural as it was, it's honestly only one. My whole life has been a mystical set of phenomena, one that went after another. It really has, since I've been born. And this one rivals, is about parallel to another one called Kundalini experience that I had in 1992. So honestly, it's not like a walk in the park. It's definitely one of the more profound supernatural events in my life, but it's not the first one, and it wasn't the last one.
Okay, but when you were in this state of coma and you claimed like that you're half in and half out, what made you, when you finally got your faculties together, to put this all together and realize where you were and what you remembered?
Well, understand that it's interesting the way you say that, yes, because during the coma, I was all the way over there. I wasn't here at all. I wasn't in my body.
What did that mean?
My body was running on machines. Okay?
Right, but what did that mean that you were over there? I mean, that made you know
I had awareness, I had thought, I had consciousness, but I was not here.
By yourself?
I was in a timeless, spaceless dimension. That is not something you can possibly relate to. It is a timeless and spaceless dimension that it's completely peaceful because you just have no desires. You're just fine. You're just consciousness. You're just raw, pure but you still are you. Like, that you're not just overall consciousness of the collective consciousness. You're your consciousness, but you're also just part of a collective consciousness. You're just consciousness. You're in this spaceless, timeless dimension, and you just are. And meanwhile, my body was in a hospital bed.
Okay, but were you alone? Was it dark? Was it light? Was there things like three dimensional things?
It's not very visual, but it's not, and so it's not like you're with someone, but it's certainly not like you're alone either. You definitely don't feel alone, because consciousness and you could say ambiance, or atmosphere of what is called the bardo, what I call the portal, the kind of dimension, the other side, the portal between the spiritual and material dimension. I call it the portal. It was just the name that I came up with. And so you're not alone, and it's very loving and very peaceful and very comforting. You definitely don't feel alone at all. You're very aware of a presence, and that presence is just it's intelligent love. And that's all I can tell you. It's not you are relating to them, and yet, so you could say angels, you could say spirits, you could say a lot of things, but it is just a benevolent consciousness. You could say God, or you can call it anything you want, but it is a benevolent consciousness that knows, and it's just okay. It's just all right.
Gotcha. I mean, because again, I've heard some other people's stories, and they're always kind of in the same ballpark, but yet they vary. Some people are more visualistic, so to speak, when they tell their story, according to what they remember. And I mean, again, we're going against people that a lot of people do believe that, hey, when you die, you die. That's it. It's blackout, lights out. I mean, but this is why we do this. I mean, because I want people to have their option, their eyes open a little bit, that there's a real good, strong possibility that, they'll find out eventually, but, who wants to wait till then?
Well, what I'm writing in my book, Life After, my 5th book, is what you get. Same thing with my addiction book. Project Addiction is not just a book on addiction. It's every modality there is for addiction, every drug, every recovery, everything. I'm a proficient master at it, and I've counseled for years. And so everything you want and need to know about it is in there. It's a one-stop shop. Same thing with this Life After experience. I'm not just going to tell you my story, which is dark and tragic and hilarious and illuminating, and will make you cry like you wouldn't believe. What I went through for 9 years, Peter, I tell you, I don't think anyone will be able to read any of this without shedding a lot of tears. It's very, very intense. But at the same time, I'm enlightening you and illuminating the truth and the aspect, not just my personal subjective, here's what happened. I'm giving you how it works. Now, who am I? Hey, I'm just telling you what I saw and what I know. And you'll use your own judgment and reason and intellect to be able to order that in fashion and say, well, this makes sense. And that's the thing. Surprisingly, the supernatural, I don't even like the term. We don't really have much other terms. It's not supernatural. It's not bizarre. It's all sensible. It's all intellectual. It's all sensible. One of the ways you know that something is true is because it makes sense. One of the ways we know someone's lying to us, because when they lie to us, it doesn't add up. And so true spirituality and true mysticism, like I said, the difference between weather forecasting and meteorology is a science that's well thought out, that isn't relying on some prediction of, oh, I think it's going to rain because my nose itches. No, it's not a thing. It's something far more scientific than that. And same thing with my death experience. Being a trained mystic, now you asked about how I perceive that. Understand that that's a great question. That's a very significant, very important question. Because when I came back in my body into the hospital, and I was kind of partly in both places during the coma, I'm all on the other side. Once I'm in the hospital for 28 days, I'm between both. When I would kind of go to sleep at night, which was all the time because I was so damaged, I was on the other side. And so I was existing between both places. I was very confused. Everyone around me, when they said, this is your son, I'm like, first of all, I'm kind of like, what's a son? I'm like, why does he think his name is Brand? Like, I'm seeing people as spirits, not as human beings. And so for the first 3 years, I'm existing in both dimensions. I'm very confused. And I'm having a hard time adjusting to the material world and the spiritual world because I'm living in both. And yes, If I'm not careful, many people that go through this, they become institutionalized.
Who made the decision? I mean, at some point when you're in a coma for that long, how did you end up staying alive? Like where they said, nothing's going to change. He's never going to be better or not.
Well, it takes a long time. First of all, Mike, there was, okay. So when my family showed up at the hospital, they were by 2 doctors and a priest. That's not a good sign. And the doctor said to them, if he ever wakes up, which by the way, no one ever has from a DAI, Glasgow, no one ever, but and they're trying to comfort them and say, if he ever wakes up, he'll be brain damaged for life. He'll probably never be able to take care of himself. I am a 3-time medical miracle. And so certainly, I'm sorry, I lost your question a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay. It's who normally,
why'd they let, so there was, so they said, if he ever wakes up, and he probably won't. They were really trying to ease my family into the fact that I probably wasn't going to, but it takes a long time and it's a lot of factors for them to decide to terminate life. I mean, very rarely does that occur in a hospital. They will keep people alive for years. And mine was only 9 days. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say only 9 days, that's a long time to be in a coma, I can tell you. But there was no, as far as I know, there was no real discussion about whether anybody should pull a plug.
Okay, because a lot of times, I don't know, due to my experiences through life, and like somebody gets into some horrific accident and they're on life support, and the doctors are like, same thing. Even if he wakes up, the chances of him ever even being a being anymore are slim. And then these families are like, well, they don't want to do it, but they're going, well, what are we going to do? They're stuck in the middle of this, tug of war of like, let you live or not.
And this is way too soon. No one possibly knew anything because again, they didn't know until they at least woke up. They had no way of knowing. There just was no way. Historically, clinically, and historically, certainly it looked like the absolute worst. But there's no way that anyone could absolutely say for a fact that I wasn't going to somehow come back. There was no evidence of that. There was no discussion as far as I know about terminal or terminating. And I don't think a hospital can make that decision.
I just have to ask because, again, a lot of these hospitals, depending on people's insurance, I hate to talk about the business end of it, but it costs a lot of money to be in an ICU and especially on life support and then in a coma, and then you're just there. So they're like, you're kicking a dead horse, unfortunately. I
can assure you that 28 days later, when they were telling me it was time to go home, Peter, I was terrified. I mean, trust me, all I knew was a hospital. I didn't know what the world was like out there. I had no idea. 28 days I'm in a hospital. I hated it, but I felt safe because I didn't. When my son said to me, "Hey, Dad, do you remember home?" I'm like, "Home? What's a home?" I didn't know what a home was. I didn't know my home. I didn't know anything. I was like brand new. So getting out of the hospital was terrifying to me, and I was not ready mentally, emotionally, or physically. I could barely walk. I could barely take care of him. So yes, when insurance runs out, they're like, "Hey, man, he's got to go." You know. So I don't think I was ready at all. But
I mean, to look at you now, you could never tell. I mean, that anything ever happened to you. And so again, because I get all these people that watch and they go, it's like this stuff happens, but you recovered. It took you a long period of time to get back to what normal is. Would you say you're completely recovered, or do you have issues from all this?
Let me give you a little inside tidbit on that last little remark too, because I just forgot to throw that part in. Additionally, when they were met by two doctors in the Priestland Hospital, and they were told, if he ever wakes up, which by the way, he probably won't. He said, even if he does, you see those scars on his face, even with intensive plastic surgery, and many of them, he's going to be deformed and misshapen for life. 9 days later, when I woke up on my birthday, I had not a scratch on me. If I showed you the pictures of me in the hospital bed with the breathing apparatus in my mouth, you'll see my head is completely scarred and covered in lacerations and blood. And they said, even if he ever wakes up, he will be deformed and mangled for life. He's going to look like Frankenstein. He's never. And 9 days later, I didn't have a scratch on me.
What do you account that for, or how?
I don't. Listen, when I came out of the coma, I had no idea about any of this stuff to begin with. I have no idea. No one does. How can you account for me waking up on my birthday? How can you account for two paramedics on the corner? You can say luck and chance all you want, but after when you get pastor, paramedics, coma on the birthday, lacerate, when you get all this together, you eventually got to say, okay, that's a little bit too much of a coincidence. You're talking 6, 7 of them that are so undeniably miraculous.
Why is the birthday so important to you?
Well, that's a good question too, Peter. Thank you. First of all, I think it's the moment I even say to somebody I woke up from a coma on my birthday, people are like, what? I mean, that's pretty startling to begin with. That's automatically like, that's crazy. In addition to that, as a numerologist and as a mystic, I know that astrologically and numerologically, where you're born, when you're born, who you're born as, the name and vibrations that you are given to express in this lifetime are very significant. And they're very particular to your karmas, your samskars, your past lives, your future lives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of had to. I think there was a glitch in the matrix. I don't think I was supposed to come back. I think somebody made a mistake, or that I was supposed to go in the first place. And they said, you know what? He's got to go back. We got to put him on his birthday because he still has to be him. He still is going to have the name Scott Spackey. He still has the same karmas and the same face and all that. So we got to have him wake up on his birthday. So he has the same vibrations mystically and astrologically that he had before. So I woke up on my birthday.
Let's talk real quick about vibrations, because I do speak to people and they say, people, when you die, that's your heaven or your hell, the vibration that you vibrate on, and you can rise and lower yourself in death, in spiritually. What's your take on all that?
That's a great topic. It's a little bit complicated, especially for neophytes, no offense. But again, what I'm enjoying with this book, and it's hard, I tell you. I mean, you get to see the emotions. Writing this book, I am a very visceral writer. I win awards. I've won 6 awards because I express things emotively on a level, on an intensity that people they don't hear it, they experience it. And so I'm sorry, I lost your question again.
Vibration.
Oh yeah. So the initial inspiration to write the book about death experience was, I want to create a manual for people to be able to learn from this scientifically so they can understand it and they can increase their knowledge and awareness and grow and evolve spiritually and scientifically. And so that's originally how it kind of started. But as I started to tell it from a first person experience, then again, that what I'm providing in life after is a harrowing account of the real experience and a first-hand experience, but also all the science on how it works, how soul incarnates in a body, how it sustains a body, how a body has consciousness, all the levels of realities and heavens and hells and all these kind of things that we're all curious about. These things are all revealed to us, to all of us when we go there. We all go to this dimension between our lives, all of us, but we don't retain it. And so because I had death experience, because I was already trained, I was able to retain more than most people do. These death experiences that you hear about, what they're sharing with you is what they were able to retain from it. We all see it. Everybody does in their own, and they only see it. The reason it's different from person to person is because it is kind of customized around your beliefs to make you feel safe and comfortable. So yes, the other benefit and this is again what I do with throughout my work as a counselor and an author, is that I want you to have all the truth and all the knowledge so you can decide for yourself. I want you to be able to go to one book and get all the knowledge on it. And again, I spent my entire life since I was a child studying mysticism. Let me tell you, that's a huge volume of work. Mysticism and religions of spiritual philosophies throughout history of our world. And I mean, I've devoured hundreds of books throughout my life. And so as a teacher and trainer of mysticism, what I want to do is save people the trouble of having to read all the books that I read and condense them into one volume for them. And that's what I do as a counselor. That's what I do as an addiction specialist. And that's what I do as a spiritualist too. So what I hope to give you with Life After is just that. One book that will give you a harrowing experience, an emotional experience, and all the information and knowledge on how this thing works.
Well, when your new book comes out, I promise you, one way or another, once you're settled in and everything, we will go in deeper detail, because that book will cover all the bases. But how did you get from a young kid? You said you got started. What makes a young kid want to start getting that deep into that kind of stuff? You know, because when I was a kid, you know, we were just, you know, riding bicycles and playing music or whatever.
Yeah, and I like that too. Don't get me wrong. I want to be a rock and roll player, you know, all that kind of stuff too. But the first thing is, what I realized partly through this experience is my first death experience was when I was born. I was born a nuchal baby. Nuchal babies are the ones that are born with their umbilical cord around their neck, and I was born dead. And so I was brought back to life the moment I was born. And so I already had, so I'm telling you, and I remember this as an infant, I'm not kidding you. All I can tell you, you can say it's imagination all you want. I can tell you that, and I knew it all my life. So when I'm 2 and 3 years old, I'm having this bizarre set of realizations and awareness, and I'm like, and I was literally thinking at 2 years old, like, I'm a child. I'm not supposed to be able to think like this. I'm not supposed to be able to think that I'm supposed to be able to think like this. I'm 2. What's wrong with me? And I learned when I was 2 and 3 years old to keep it very quiet. But my mom, she was kind of into that stuff too. So she had me like reading crystal balls by the time I was like 3 and 4, you know, for fun, you know?
You see, and I have the problem of I'm sitting around thinking and I'm going, what am I doing? I'm an adult and I'm thinking like a child. So I don't.
Well, I do that too, you know, but that's more. Now, keep in mind also that in my youth, I thought that religions and spiritual philosophies, what I saw in the world was religion was a bunch of hypocrites. Everybody, all the violence and all the tragic stuff I saw in the world, people saying that they were doing it in the name of God. I'm like, that doesn't add up. Like, this is a bunch of hypocrites. So I was totally against. I was more than agnostic. I wasn't an atheist at all. I was just against all religion and spiritual philosophy because I thought they were all full of crap. I thought they were all serving their own agendas. So I started to study when I was young, 9 and 10 years old, study Bible and spiritual philosophies and religions, not only because I wanted to debate these people and to beat them at their own game. That's why I started to study. But as I studied it in my youth, by 8, 9, and 10 years old, I found something beautiful. I found that, yes, indeed, the organized religions are mostly full of garbage, but the core of the philosophies and the core of what they have that they don't actually usually teach is beautiful, and it's true, and it's righteous, and it's spiritual. So that's what I found. So it started for me when I was very young.
One last question on this, and then we're going to move on. Unfortunately, like I said, it's going to be endless, and I got way more questions for you. But okay, so the vibrations. But you get people that talk about their near-death experiences, and they all have, like, you know, it was a warm white light, and you know, and then I felt like I was in the presence of God. Or you got somebody that's like, all my family or my whole life flashed before me, like I was watching my whole life within seconds from birth to death. What do you say about all that?
Okay, first of all, that's called life review. And life review is pretty much a standard of your death experience. That's for all of us. And you'll get one too. When you die, you're going to get one too. You get a life review. That's a standard operation of the death experience. That everyone gets that. Now, as far as the white light, pass on loved ones, and those kind of features, this explained in very sharp detail in my book. That basically what happens is what you're given in your death experience is unique and custom for you, because the angelic benevolent presences that are in charge of this care about you, and they want you to have a peaceful transition, because most people, when they're in the death experience, will freak the F out. And so comforting things like light and angels and pass on loved ones is very comforting. So this is what they can project at them so they can feel eased. Okay. The truth is your loved ones have moved on. And that goes into the whole thing of reincarnation, all kinds of other, but I can tell you factually, your loved ones have moved on. But again, and so no, but I saw them. Yes, you did, but you're seeing something of a projection of your own spirit and heart and your imagination, because that's what's comforting for you. The Akashic space, Akash is space in Sanskrit. The Akashic space, where we call about the Akashic records, where all the knowledge is stored, that's the dimension I was in, the Akashic record space. So the Akashic space, the Akashic agents, I refer to them, they provide you these things to ease you into the death experience, because otherwise it's traumatizing. Let me tell you, death is not all just beauty and light. It is when you do it real quick and you come back and your life is fine and normal. But for me, you're talking about a guy that went to bed one night with a beautiful girlfriend that he was in love with for 10 years, a son, a single parent, that my son is absolutely amazing. I had a full career as a counselor, respected, well-known, spiritual and deep, traveling the world. And I grew up a poor kid on the streets. I'm living a good life that I worked my ass off for. In an instant, Peter, my life was completely over. And I didn't remember any of it. For the next 4 years, I don't know who I am. So I'm going to rebuild the whole thing. So I didn't have just this white light, beautiful experience. I'm having a very metaphysical, mystical, profound experience that's going on for 4 years.
Because I tell people every day almost that, be grateful for what you got, because life can change in an instant.
In an instant.
Right.
In an instant. We all went to bed one night. My son, my girl, we all went to bed one night and everything was this way. And the next, in an instant, everything was completely changed. I am and always was the hub of my family. I'm the guy that gets things done. I'm the one that organizes everything. I'm the one that takes care of it. That's the guy I always was. And we went from that to I was completely helpless.
No, I get it. I tell my daughter almost every day when she's walking out the door, it's like nobody ever expected to walk out their door and not come home. And that's a big deal. But it happens.
It is something we should feel obligated to do. I don't want us to obsess on death. At the same time, every moment, we should absolutely recognize the glory of being alive. And here's the weird thing. Here's again what I was kind of passive-aggressively kind of upset about. I'm like, but I already was very happy to be alive. I was already paid. I was never taking life for granted. So I was like, I understand why these people died, because they were like living these material lives and taking life for granted, but I wasn't doing that. So why I know you died? Why did I die? What did I learn from this? And it took these 9 years for me to start to learn what the Akashic space and the spiritual dimensions were trying to elevate me to another octave. I was already at a very high spiritual octave, and they saw an opportunity to take me to a higher octave.
I wanted to shift gears, but now I got this question that I got to ask you, even though I may ask you in the future again. A lot of people say that when you're born, you have a predetermined life, that all the things you're going through is that you predicted, that you chose to have this life, regardless of the good and bad, for a learning experience. True or false?
True and false. You choose in the sense that your current existence is all regulated and determined and influenced by your karmas and sanskars. Those are Sanskrit names. Your karmas and your sanskars, that what you do in this life creates the circumstances for your next life. But yet you also have free will. So the big events of your life, death, birth, marriage, illness, children, the big events of your life are predetermined. Those things are going to happen, but how they're going to happen, how you handle them, and how well you do them or not, that's up to you. You still have free will. So while my death event in this situation was predetermined, I couldn't avoid that, but how I handled it was up to me. That I still had free will with. And so when people were saying to me about how lucky I was in the hospital, I'm like, no, man, lucky is when you almost get in the face of the truck, not when you do. I did not feel lucky with what I was going through. I mean, my life was, I'm struggling not to swear. My life was effing over, dude. My life was effing over. Okay. Yeah. I didn't feel lucky at all. And they said, what do you must be destined for something great. I'm like, I don't really give a damn. Whatever it isn't worth it, because this is hell. My life is over. Everything that I had and loved and built for my entire life is completely removed and gone. I don't even know who I am. So
past tense now.
Well, so much of your life and existence is predetermined. Much of it isn't. It's a combination of things. And as a mystic, I understood this before my death experience.
Let's talk about your spiritual healing techniques. I mean, because you believe in the science of it. You don't have the as you said, the medium type. You don't have things channel through you. You believe there's a science, specific science, if through numerology and astrology. Explain a little bit. I mean how. Because you can go to a tarot card reader and it's like, and do you really believe these people? But you have it way more narrowed down to the science. And how is that accurate?
Yeah, I do. And honestly, between you and I and the lamppost and everybody who's watching and listening, I don't have a lot of affection or respect for your conventional dime store psychic type of people. Again, they're like weather forecasters. They just broadcast the news. Meteorologists are scientists that understand the science. They're mystics. And I'm a mystic and always have been. And so, yes, is intuition and my developed mystical consciousness involved with what I do with the modalities, mystical modalities of tarot, astrology, numerology, etc.? Yes, it's involved. But I can teach you, and I do spiritual training. I train people as mystics. And if you learn the science of it, just like meteorology, it's a way of interpreting the dynamics of existence to be able to understand what they mean, what they're coming to. Again, meteorologists are magical. They can look at the satellite radar. They can look at the dynamics, and they can say, hey, it's going to rain tomorrow. That's not psychic. They're doing science. Same with numerology, same with tarot. I'm looking at the tools. I'm looking at the readings. I'm looking at all the data, and I'm able to pull from that and see what it means and interpret it for you.
Okay, because here's the thing. You do provide a service about pretty much like charting out people's life path. Is that correct?
Yeah, which is you're seeing it here.
We're going to bring
triangle. This is the blueprint of your life. This is Pythagorean, so it's several thousand years old, and this is a synthesis. Oh, this one doesn't say that. This is a synthesis of numerology, astrology, tarot, I Ching that I blended into it with I Ching, the Chinese Oriental, and Kabbalah's Tree of Life. Now, all of these mystical modalities synchronize together. First of all, for example, tarot. Tarot is not a separate entity. Tarot is a part of Kabbalah and always has been. The reason tarot came about, tarot exists because it is a pictorial imagery of the Tree of Life in Kabbalah. It doesn't, and people that don't use Tree of Life with Kabbalah, I think with tarot, then I think they're making a mistake. They're not getting it right. That's like being a weather forecaster. So it is a science, and a good trained mystic knows how to interpret these and put them together. So yes, these readings cover your entire life. Some of them are 10 to 15, 16 pages, and it covers your entire life. It's a roadmap for your life. And then some of them are just for a phase of your life, whatever you want. So some people reach out to me and say they want a reading for this year. And some people say they want a reading, and a complete reading for their whole life. And some people say I want a reading for last year or this month or this week. And that's fine too. We can read the science for that.
Because again, what we're going to do is because I honestly, that's kind of interesting, and to know that you're going to sit there and take time and to map out somebody's whole entire life, or to where they can really kind of have some direction into where they're going. I mean, that's got to help people, right?
Well, that's why I do it, Peter. I'm here to entertain. What I do as a spiritualist is the same as I do as a counselor. I'm here to help you evolve and grow and avoid the bad things and enhance and influence the good things. And again, the weather forecast is useful because then we know what to wear and where to go, and where not to go. It's very useful information. So what I try to provide in my mystical modalities is provide people information to be able to update their hard drive, their spiritual phenomena, and improve and enhance and evolve. The whole point is we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. That's Teilhard de Chardin said that. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. What I'm trying to do with all my work is not just heal or predict futures. I don't do that. I want to give you information and insights for you to be able to develop and evolve your spiritual consciousness to improve so you can grow. Now, as a side effect of that, you'll also improve your material life too.
No, it just again, numerology and astrology to me has been very complicated. That's been like the toughest thing for me and a lot of people to understand. And I guess maybe I shouldn't understand it and trust the ones that do understand it. But what that's why I don't think a lot of people can really even get a grasp on it to even care about it because they don't understand.
It is complicated. Listen, I'm going to show you. Here's my tree of life. All right, that's the Kabbalah tree of life. All right.
Yeah.
Now I've got workbooks for all of these. Here it is again, tree of life, and here's how it works. Now, it is complicated. Numerology and astrology. Astrology is extremely complicated mathematically. I mean, it takes a lot of intellect to be able to process information. You can't just read it. I mean, I can read an ephemeris. Very few astrologers can read ephemeris. I started to be able to do that. It's a pain in the ass. It's really hard. I mean, it's tedious. And so it is, again, a very scientific, intellectual process. And yes, only trained mystics can truly do this properly. Again, you give me I see some tarot reader, some psychic that is reading cards and doesn't understand that the tarot deck is a pictorial roadmap of the Kabbalah's tree of life. Well, they don't know what they're doing. And to me, that's disrespectful to people not understand. So certainly I don't want to learn how to change the head gasket on my car. I want to go to a mechanic. He studied that. He's an expert in it. That's where I'm going to go. So certainly that's kind of why I offer my service. You don't have to go do all that.
Well,
you got other things to do. That's someone like me exists to be able to interpret those things for you.
I've always said if you want to talk mechanics, there's all types of mechanics, and you may get a good one, you may get a bad one until you finally find the one that kicks ass. It's just the way.
And you scrutinize. You go to find mechanic. You shop. You look around, and you start to be able to tell, hey, this guy knows what he's talking. This one doesn't. Right. And the bottom line is, when I'm looking for a mechanic, I want somebody that can answer my questions. Not kinda, not sorta, not ambiguous, not vague. No. Can you give me a logical answer? And if you can't, then I don't trust you. You either don't know what you're talking about or you're duplicitous. One of the two. Same thing with supernatural or spiritual phenomena, mystical modalities. People that know it, again, it's not some nebulous, crazy, abstract concept. It is a hard science to me that I can have an intellectual conversation with you. And I've been with many mystics in many hotel rooms, in conventions with the OTO around the world. I'm part of orders around the world. We can sit around, we just talk shop.
Gotcha. I got one more question, and then because I've got Donna hanging on the phone, because what you're going to do is and I know you said it's really complicated, but you were cool enough to we have Donna on the phone, and you're going to give her an abbreviated version of her life path due to the birthday and all that. That's, and it is only a flash. It's not as explicit as you would like to do it, but we're just short on time, but we're going to do that for her. But I got one question I got to ask you, because
it's a gimme. So yeah, I'm not giving away the store.
No, I totally understand. But the thing is, the one question in conversation prior to this show that we had when I was pre-interviewing you, you said something to me that stuck in my mind. And you said, when you do these things, you'll know more about the person you're doing it for than they know about themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Please, well, explain that.
Well, for example, I was doing a chart and a series of readings for a student in Arizona, and she and I were working together in live sessions, and I was doing entire readings for her. She was getting mystically trained. She wanted to become more mystical, and so I was training her mystically. And so I saw through the reading that some certain events are going to take place, and I can't divulge that. That's not for me to say. That's not my responsibility. That's irresponsible and dangerous for me to divulge these things. But I saw it, and I knew that something was coming. When I went to bed that night, I kind of prayed and meditated, and basically was told, you could say, I was given the kind of message or transmission that, yes, you can and you should tell this person. Tell her how to prepare for this. Don't tell her it's going to happen necessarily, but yes, she does need to know this, and you're authorized to tell this. Otherwise, I wasn't said anything. So yes, I see all kinds of things. And again, most of the people I'm doing readings for, I never met. They file it online. I don't need to. I connect to them, their karmas, to their numbers, to their astrology, to all those kind of things. And yes, I definitely feel very close to, on a personal level. I feel like I really know them. And I'm not just saying like their history and their facts. I'm saying I can feel their character and their spirit. I can sense who they are. If they give me access, I don't trespass. If somebody has given me permission, then I don't do that. I don't sit in a party and know what people are thinking. I'm not going to do that. That's a transgression. That's irresponsible, and I would never do that. I don't want anybody knowing what I'm thinking unless I invite them. So, as a matter of fact, this woman had said to me she wanted me to do a reading on something specific, and I said she asked something specific, and I said I can't do that until you give me permission. If you ask for it, then I can ask if I can give it to you. But I can't just go in there and know things. I don't do that. That's irresponsible. I don't invade someone's privacy. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. It just again, when you said that to me, I said that's fascinating because to know more, to tell somebody that you know more, you'll know more about them than they know about themselves. That's a hell of a responsibility too, kind of.
It is, because I'm not seeing them as people. I'm seeing them as spirits. I'm seeing your spiritual self, which is more ongoing, which is more essential to who you are. You have an essence. And so what I'm seeing you as a spirit, not as a person. As people, we're just a collection of events and thoughts and experiences throughout this lifetime. But as spirits, we are an ongoing entity of a myriad of lifetimes and events and spiritual phenomena and all kinds of things that we don't perceive consciously, but it's in here.
Gotcha. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I mean, like I said, that's deep stuff, and it's stuff that you just can't, I don't think your average person can just pick up and completely get a grasp on what you do, right off the bat. It takes time and study and a little more intuitiveness and to pay attention. The good thing is that people can contact you, and I have your website up there. And because I do believe that, for what you do and the amount of work it takes to do what you do, it's probably money well spent. If you care, want to know about yourself. But look, on the line, I've got Donna. Donna, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. Where are you calling from, Donna?
I'm calling from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Idaho. She's from Idaho, Scott. Okay, I have Scott. Donna's on the line, and I'm going to let you guys kind of take over unless you need anything from me.
Krishnanand.
Okay.
Krishnanand. Sorry, I apologize. All right. So say hi to Krishnanand.
Hi, how are you? What an amazing story.
Well, thank you. Hi, Donna, right?
Yes.
Hi, Donna. Nice to meet you. I'm going to give you both. I'm going to give you a spiritual greeting. Jai Shri Radhe. That's a Sanskrit name for like divine love. So Jai Shri Radhe.
Okay.
I gave Krishnanand your birth date ahead of time to help cut through some time because we're already running over time. But so he's going to just kind of cut to the chase and give you a roundabout tell-all. And now I step out.
So here's how this works.
Wonderful.
Okay, so when we talk about, here's how we do these readings. Your birth date is one set of numbers and frequencies, when you were born and where you were born. That is one set of frequencies and vibrations that are cosmically influencing your life. Also, your name. Your name is the vibration that you carry with you through your life, that you were given at birth, and that you go by. That's how people identify you. The consonants in that name add up. They have numerical values, and the vowels do too. The vowels add up to one set of a frequency, and the consonants add up to a different one. So your birth date, your vowels, and your consonants in your name make up the frequencies that you live within. The birth date pertains to your life purpose frequency. This is why you're here and what you're here to do, to kind of try to accomplish and grow and evolve to. And the vowels in your name add up to a value that expresses your soul vibration, your essence. And your consonants add up to frequencies that express your personality in this lifetime. And you add these together and they create your destiny number. So what we're doing today is, with your birth date, is just your life purpose, which would just as if it's a small thing. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to get an insight as to why your dynamics, personal ones, your personality, your mindset, certain types of characteristics and features and virtues that you have are there because they're there for you to be able to access, to be able to develop a certain particular set of skills and qualities and characteristics to be able to evolve and grow, to be able to get the best out of this lifetime that you can. Make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, yes, to save the math problem, I asked Peter to tell me what the birth date was, and it adds up to a 34/7. So your birth date is let's see, what was it? Was it June 3rd?
No, March 8th.
March 8th. March 8th. So 5/8, and it was 1967.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's how that works. And Peter and I had a couple laughs because he thought he did it. He didn't add it up right, and it's because he doesn't know how to do it. So we take the 5 plus the 8 plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 7. Okay. So it's not like we add them one to the other and then to the other one. So they add up, and what they come to, when we add them all together, they equal a 34. So 34, 3 plus 4 equals a 7. So therefore, we have a 34 over a 7. What we're trying to do, Donna, is distill your personal life purpose vibration to something that we can identify and understand and interpret. So instead of all these numbers, we add them all together, and they get condensed and distilled so you can see their essence. So your life purpose vibration is a 34/7. And I'm kind of looking at some of my cards here. So let me give you a little bit of insight that. First of all, the 3 and the 4. So your life purpose is a frequency of 7, which is a very mystical number, but it's arrived at through a 3 and a 4. The 3 is the triad number. It has a masculine quality. It is very mystical and playful in many ways, and it's very independent and very, very moving forward. But it's combined with the 4, and the 4 is extremely practical. It's all about reason and sensibility and intellect. So you have this wonderful combination. The two of them combine to create overall a mystical character. So you tell me if this sounding like you, that you are simultaneously. So many people that are kind of mystical are kind of like out there and kind of, a little kooky. And many people that are very practical are just that and nothing else. But you have a combination of both features in your life purpose, in your personality, and your character. So you have this mystical quality, but you have a very intellectual and reasonable application to it. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite accurate.
Right? Yeah. And here's the thing. Yeah, this is gonna blow your mind because I don't know you. We never met. We never even spoke. So yes, what you have is a very conventional, practical, and you respect formal behaviors. You like the formalities of things, and it's not because you're rigid or you're unaccepting of things. It's because you respect order and sensibility in things, and that's a wonderful trick to have because you apply the same feature to your mystical thought and your spiritual consciousness, and that to me is profound because what Peter and I were talking about is that I don't look at mystical spiritual things as a nebulous thing. It is very practical and scientific, and it should be applied with intellect. So we combine these two together. You're very philosophical, introspective, and strongly religious. These inclinations to the spiritual aspects of life, coupled with an open mind, make you very intuitive. But again, your intuitiveness is not just some flighty kind of thing where like, oh, I know things. You have for you, it's like deductive reasoning. You say, hey, I see these things this way. They equal this. This is what's going to happen. This is the kind of thing, this is the vibration that I'm experiencing. Now, if and when this is expressed negatively, which we all do, then you become impatient, impulsive, and reckless. So you become quite the antithesis of what you normally are. So in your true self, you are patient and you're accepting, and you're actually somewhat of a leader. I'm thinking a mom to people, somebody that people can rely on. You're always sensible, and you're always there to kind of like provide them with the stability of things and the sense of things, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. But all of us have our bad days. And when you have your bad days, you become the antithesis of this. You become impatient instead of patient, impulsive instead of calculated, and reckless, which is when you're like this, other people would look at you and say, well, that's not like her at all. But it does happen, correct?
Yes, quite accurate.
It happens all the time. But when it happens, it's either all on, but they're very brief. But when they happen, it's like, you're like, this isn't me. Like, why am I doing this? And so this is the important thing. Because when you get like that, you can become selfish, which is, again, the antithesis of what you are. You're actually very generous and you really live a life of service for others. And yet in these dark times, you get more selfish and more negative. And when it says here, at times you can maybe resort to violence to attain your goals, understand that violence doesn't mean physical aggression. It could be mental or emotional. So you can, in a bad expression of this, become very intimidating to people intellectually and emotionally. Am I correct?
Sometimes.
Right.
I don't agree with the violent part, but
Well, again, I'm not saying violent. I'm saying violent violence is a broad term. Anytime that we are oppressing someone or being aggressive to them, whether it's emotionally or verbally, again, we don't have to be angry. It's simply a way of controlling things without making somebody some dude.
yeah, on occasion I can do it that way.
Yeah, and again, this isn't your consistent character. Consistently, you're more of a leader, and you're more of somebody that again people can turn to make them feel calm and make sense, and you'll help them through things. But sometimes we get a little overwhelmed. So you also have tarot correspondence for this. Okay, what happens is the 34/7 has a tarot correspondence, the card in the deck that equals that number. Same thing in the I Ching. There are 64 hexagrams in the I Ching. And 34 is the one that corresponds to you. So you have these modalities. So the card is the 8 of Wands, and it's about motion. This means that what you want to have, Donna, is you want your thought and your spirit and your direction, the way that you apply your heart and your spirit is to be in motion, because when you are stagnant and you become inert, you're very restless and uncomfortable. You know that it's wrong and you don't like it. And that's a good sign. You have to trust that intuition, that instinct, because these wands in this image are all on a trajectory. They're going somewhere, and you need to have that sense of direction and purpose. You always need to be moving. I don't mean that in an erotic way. I'm saying that's a good thing. And so adhere to that, because when you don't, that's when you feel like you're kind of lost and not getting traction in your life. You understand?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So your I Ching hexagram is Ta Chuan, the power of the great. Now, I love I Ching. Now, this system has been around for thousands of years, and it's been synthesized with astrology, and numerology, and tarot for hundreds of years. I adapted it to Kabbalah and I Ching. Years ago, I sampled it. I'm like, oh my God, it fits perfectly. They got numbers. These got numbers too. The reason I need to do that is because as an I Ching, as a mystic that I love I Ching because it's so very direct. It tells us what to do and what not to do. It doesn't just give us ambiguous, vague statements. It tells us what to do and what not to do. It's about action. And this is cold. I'm reading it for the first time. It says, Ta Shung indicates that it will be advantageous to be firm and correct in accordance with propriety. Now, I'm not sure what those words invoke in you, but what I'm sensing from that right away is, again, there's an emphasis here on this firm and correct in accordance with propriety quality and feature that you have to your character. When you feel imbalanced or in discord, it's because you're not following the propriety. You like it and you respect it and you admire it, and it's a virtue that you're very good with. And it's what people like, it's what people get from you as well. That's one of the reasons they're drawn to you, because what they want that to, they don't see much else of it, and much of that anywhere else. So stay with that. So your purpose, the vibration that you're working with, is to enhance these things, to stay true to yourself, continue to grow and expand your reasonable application to spiritual conscious, to spiritual modalities. Make sense?
Yes,
is that useful for you?
Wonderful. Yes.
Now, what I would advise you to do, for example, if you're a client of mine, I would say, I'm not trying to upsell. I'm saying that the reason I have not just readings, but I have reading material, I offer service as a spiritual trainer. So the workbooks that I have are a way to enhance your knowledge and what you do. The workbooks don't just give you the knowledge, they teach you how to use them. So the yoga book teaches you how to do yoga, how to meditate, how to breathe, how to do all these things to be able to expand your consciousness and have mystical experiences. Same with the Kabbalah book. The Kabbalah book isn't just a book of knowledge of what Kabbalah is. It teaches you how to use it to be able to expand and develop yourself spiritually. So this is what the virtuous benefit that you have, Donna, is that you have a very rare quality. You have this intellectual overdrive that's wonderful that you can apply to the fascination you have with mystical things. And these two combined will bring you to octaves of existing and learning and feeling that you just never even knew possible.
You got that, Donna?
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm definitely going to reach out and get more information about all this.
Well, here's what I find a lot of times. I mean, this stuff is blowing into your head right now, and there's words that you were not used to hearing, and actions, but the beauty of it is you could watch the show over again, and then when you finally get a grasp on it, and also the biggest deal is that you can easily go to Scott's website and learn more about it. As I said, if you want to get deeper into this, you can. It's again, to me, spending money on yourself is money well spent. I mean, especially in this day and age when we're living in this shit show of events that go on. But where are we at with Donna?
And if I may say, in addition, the readings that I do, that's the whole thing, as you just said, they're there for your whole life. When you get a life reading, when you get the whole thing, or any reading that you get, it's there in print. You can refer back to it. And I tell people all the time in the reading, I'm saying, read this once a week for the first month, and then set it aside, and then come back to it every 3 months and read it again, and then every couple of years come back to it. You learn something new every time. My sister, I mean, I give these things, I do these readings for people, and years later they're still getting stuff out of them.
Yeah,
it is for your life.
Thank you so much. I really, wow, I'm really thinking about everything you're saying. Very, very accurate.
Honestly, Donna, I think you'll even appreciate it more as time goes on, and it starts to sink in. I think, even I'm listening, but when I watch, check the shows out again, and we're cutting clips, and we start getting all this, it really starts getting more meaningful when you can, right now you're on the phone and it's kind of just getting flung at you, but you will get a lot more out of this. But
also what I'm speaking to is, I'm not just speaking to her. She's listening, Donna, you're listening with your conscience, but I'm speaking another octave, another level to your spirit as well, your higher consciousness. And so, yes, as Peter's saying, it's all going in there, and yes, it'll settle and it'll start to manifest and start to expand and start to reveal itself even more to you over time.
I'm looking forward to actually watching the show and hearing this.
Cool.
To really absorb it even further. Thank you so much,
Scott. How we doing? Krishnanand, is that pretty much wrap it up with Donna, or was there anything else?
Yeah, no, that'll wrap it up.
I
hope you'll look into, again, look over the readings and see if there's something you want, and they're very detailed. There's good description, and you'll see if there's something that you want more of.
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
Hey, Donna.
Yes.
I got one question for you.
Sure.
Who's your favorite show?
The Peter G Show.
All right, I love you. All right, again, I hope you get something out of this, and keep on watching and share.
I absolutely will.
All right, I love you. Take care of yourself.
All righty. Bye.
Bye. Well, there you have it. All right, whoops, where do we go? Oh. What did I just do? Hello. Turn the lights out.
It's all going black.
Wow, sorry. I hit the wrong button.
It's all going dark.
Well, here's what's happening. Pepsi's eating his lunch right now, and I was sitting over there looking at him, and why am I...
I see me and hear the music now. Hello.
There we go.
There you go.
Sorry, you were on. I hit the... I leaned on the wrong button. It's a good thing it wasn't the nuke button, but I was leaning over watching Pepsi eat dinner ahead of me. Yeah, now he's making... I know, that's very funny. And sometimes I need to get stuff out of my way. Anyway, you kind of gave her a expedited version of what you do, and I know that once she listens to it over again and over, because I know personally when I've done things, I've listened to them a million times to refresh my memory and get things out of it. Well, what you do, it's too much for one. Oh, yeah. So. Let me ask you something else. Okay, so for people to get a hold of you, because again, we are way over. I'm going to break the record again, and I'm trying to be good. To get a hold of you, they can contact you at Krishnanand at www.spiritualtriangle.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, the website is spiritualtriangle.com. LifeMind is my clinical one. So you mentioned a behavioral health. I'm a behavioral health specialist. I've been in private practice for a long time. So there's a lot of free stuff and a lot of modalities and a lot of courses. I solve addiction with a video course that is guaranteed. It's only a few $100. And so LifeMind is my clinical site where I give my behavioral counseling and treatments, and Spiritual Triangle is the spiritual and mystical. They're very separate. I keep them separate.
Gotcha. What we're going to do is real quick, and then I got to let you go and we got to get out of here. But we had spoken earlier that we're going to put up an email, your email, and any of the people, the listeners watching, get in. If the first 2 emails, you said that you would kind of do a little rundown like you did for Donna, just gratis.
Yeah, the first 2 I'll give a free life purpose reading to.
And
yeah,
I think
and it won't be, listen, those typically, they're sometimes a page or 3 pages. I don't know, sometimes 5 pages. They do take me a couple hours to do. They're nothing. This was very quick on the phone with Donna. That was very different. These things are far more elaborate when I sit down and actually crunch the number and do them.
Right, which I think I'm trying to make that point for people that I'm pushing. We're on a time limit, and then to do Donna's thing, we would have had to prepare and just give it the whole show, and so I think people understand that. But I think people should check out your website, and if they want to get a little more in deeper detail, they should go to your website. But right now, if you guys email any of you, to Krishnanand at spiritualtriangle.com and type in the promo code PeterG93. And if you type that in, he's going to know that it's coming from us. And the first 2 that get in there, and again, there's nothing wrong with going over to his website and checking it out, and you can put yourself on the on the info list on that too. But I would check Scott out and Krishnanand, because it's just a plethora of information, and we're living in a time that we all need to have our own act together in order to make this whole thing work. Unless I'm missing something, what do you think?
Yeah. And look, there's a lot of stuff. Again, on Spiritual Triangle, I'm not just selling you some readings and services. Services are there. There's also workbooks, and there's also a whole separate pages that will give you some very good, fun, and easy primers on numerology, astrology, tarot. All these things are there, and we're talking about a couple of pages that really that would take you normally months and months and months, maybe even years to be able to study and learn. I give to you in a couple of pages. I'm a bona fide teacher in it.
Right, I get you. Again, first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time and coming on the show. I once your new book is out, that really goes into deeper detail about the near-death experiences and the whole process of life and all of that. Maybe you can, if you got the time, to come back on, and then we'll go and we'll focus right on that book.
Well, I will be touring with it very soon, as a matter of fact. So, publisher getting ready. We're getting to the final draft. So, I don't know when the release is going to be, but it's going to be. I mean, I'm hoping. I don't want to project. I don't want to anticipate yet, but we're in the final drafts, and so there will be some touring to podcasts and talk shows, TV, radio. I've done a lot of that in the past, so we're doing those again. We're doing those rounds.
All right. Well, again, maybe at the turn of the year or something.
Be on my route.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty easy to find nowadays. It's kind of hard to escape. But the thing is, we're going to talk about that, and when the time comes, you just give me a nudge, and then we'll see when we can schedule something in just to do a little more focus. We covered a lot of ground today, and that was, I hate having to skip and keep on pushing, but it's the only way to fit it in. And believe me, I haven't done an hour 30 show in a while, and this is what that show is today. So we're all good. But anyway,
hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you for being on. One more time, you can get a hold of Scott. You can Krishnanand. You can go to his website, www.spiritualtriangles.com, and you can see more about him and what he does, and that'll open up the plethora of directions you can go to check him out. Again, for your own good, and if you decide you want to do something with him, nothing better than investing in yourself. So again, Scott, I thank you. And is there anything you could leave us with before you get out here? Any word of wisdom?
Just go with spirit. Go with spirit. Don't forget your spiritual consciousness. Don't forget your spiritual. Keep developing. Yes, have fun in the world. I'm a Dodger fan. I'm an Angelino, so I'm still there for all that kind. But also develop and pay attention to the mystical side of things, because there's so much beautiful things. We want to experience reality on all of its octaves.
Amen. All right, buddy. I appreciate your time again. Thank you for because we kind of have been touching base it's taken months to make this all happen, and we're finally here. So I thank you, and everybody here thanks you. So take care of yourself, and we'll talk soon. All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right. You take care.
Bye.
Bye. There you have it, folks. Krishnanand, www.spiritualtriangle, and I'm going to put this up again. Email him to krishnanand@spiritualtriangle.com and type in the promo code PeterG93. Just do it. You might get something good out of it. Okay, no harm, no foul. And because a lot of people go, I don't want to do that because somebody probably already emailed, but you never know. I have the greatest lurkers in the world. They love to sit back and watch somebody else do something. Anyway, so that's it. Let's make that happen. It's all good. Listen, will you freaking calm down? I'm getting he's killing me. Here we go. Let me bring him in. We're gonna have a. There, you happy?
Krishnanand.
Yeah.
Krishnanand.
What did I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you? Are you through eating? Can we continue?
Yeah, hitting the harmonics of life. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
It's really a strange or coincidental, but I had someone really close to me had an NDE and explained it almost verbatim. So that's really.
I don't think anything's coincidental anymore.
Kind of trippy.
I really don't. I don't think anything happens by accident. I've gotten so everything happens for a reason. I'm just kind of getting to be that guy, good or bad. Yeah. So So I just think people do it at different intervals, and some people takes years, and some people may never get it. But we're trying to open up that awareness. So
interesting.
Hey, yeah, good. Yeah. There you go.
All
right, listen. So I don't know what was going on while we were doing when I was doing the interview with Krishnanand, but
I was working. I don't know what you were doing.
You were working on. I saw the plate you had. You were working on. Yeah, I saw what you were working on. I was gonna.
You didn't feed me today.
If it wasn't that we were doing something serious, I was gonna turn the camera on you while you were stuffing your face. Nothing like
hey man, I was underneath the console dusting it on. I got some people got real work to do around here.
Yeah. Like
you know
what
I mean?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. You like barbecue.
Okay, great show, sir.
Yeah, this is we went way long, but I kind of figured it was going to be because I could only I would have had to give up something about this, and I don't care. We're going to do it. I'll do what I want. Kind of. Anyway, all right.
Peter G.
Yeah, and don't forget, Pepsi. You need to email to Krishnanand@spiritualtriangle.com and type in the promo code PeterG93.
I wonder if he'll do me. I wonder if he'll do it.
I just, if you type it in, there's no promo code entry box. You just have to send an email and say, hey, that way they know it came from this show, and you never know what might happen.
Correct.
But,
if it comes from me, they'll probably know. Oh, damn.
Oh no, it's in the reject pile.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a doozy, man.
It's like a doozy, man.
No, if anybody needs some more spirituality, even though you think you're on that path, I say that you got a long road ahead of you right there. a lot of repenting to do. Yeah. That paddle, you're paddling with a short paddle. You got the short boss paddle. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Listen,
that was great.
Yeah. So next week again, I want to remind people
next week.
Next week's going to be another interesting show because again, it's going to be about kids' health, mental health, and we're going to have on Wednesday, June 15th, kids' health behavioral pediatrician Dr. Narissa Bauer. She's going to be on the show, and we're going to do it right here. Preschool kids, school age kids, and tweens. She deals with mental health, ADHD, and all
maybe
that.
Autistic kids too. So
all the above. I was just trying to narrow it down. Kids like me that they didn't have that back then, and but look, we turned out okay anyway, kind of, But
So say you.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, my mother said I was okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, man, you're great, man. Everybody loves you.
Yeah.
Peter G for president.
Yeah, I'll tell my creditors that. Hey, but you got to pay your bills.
Say goodnight, Peter.
Yeah. So
okay. Say goodnight, Pepsi.
Yeah. Say goodnight, Pepsi, and thanks for finally. Just whatever. But don't forget. Thanks for showing up.
Thanks for coming.
No,
We
that's
love you.
underrated. There's a lot of work that goes into this behind the scenes, and
Correct.
yeah. So anyway, all right. So leave everybody with your final Pepsi goodbye. Oh, it's a salute. Da, 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 da. Yay! 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 Look, it's Pepsi, ladies and gentlemen. It's Pepsi. Pepsi. Thank you. All right, Pepsi. Peace out. We'll talk to you in like 2 minutes. Goodbye. Oh yeah, peace. Hey, put her there, pal. Put her there. Goodbye. Or goodbye for the people. That's it. Wow. Yay. All right. Don't forget, people, podcasts. You know, it's hard to sit and watch a TV show for an hour and a half or an hour, and I totally agree. But I love you. I love the ones that do. And I'll remind you one more time to make sure you check out and send the email in. That way he knows somebody's paying attention. But to Krishnanand at spiritualtriangle.com and type in Peter. Just type it in. Just say Peter G93. Peter G. I don't know. And in fact, we don't even know why it's Peter G93. We just made it up. Peter G93, because it has no significance, at least as far as I know. I might have to check with Krishnanand to see maybe there is a numeralical significance in this. Almost got me there. Love you guys. I do. Life is short. It's been a hell of a week this past week. I can honestly tell you that there's been things going on, but we're still here. I ask you, just check out the podcast. If you're in the car, you know, you may not be able to see things, but listening is the next best thing. You can do it at work while you're in the car or anywhere. Just, you know, with your phone, you can have your phone closed and just type in Peter G Podcast, and you can go on to all of the many, you know, whether it's iTunes or there's 25 of them. I don't know. They're all there. But I'm glad if you do. All right. Listen, catch you all next week. I think that's it for today, and I appreciate those who paid attention. Please, I want to know what you think about some of these shows. Feedback is welcomed, you know, even if you want to make jokes, because we're all about the jokes. But life is short. Let's make life worth living. And my name is Peter G. Next week, again, most all you have kids or have been through it, been there, done that, have grandkids, all the above. Let's check out what Dr. Narissa Bauer's got to say about childhood behavior. I think it'll be another educational show. Again, we're all over the map. 1 minute I'm screaming about one thing, the next minute we're educating about another, and not screaming. So, you know, covering those bases because I feel it's worth it. Did I tell you it's really great to be here? And now it's time to say goodbye to all our company. My name is Peter G. I thank you all for watching. And again, I love you guys. I do. I mean that with the bottom of my heart. Email to Krishnanand, spiritualtriangle.com, and put in Peter G93. Peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, Divorce Dad.